All right, welcome back to the channel. Gervonta Tank Davis, Leo Santa Cruz, and Gary Russell Jr., three of the best little man boxers. We're going to talk about them and something that Leo Santa Cruz said about the upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis and a mention of Gary Russell Jr. in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Leo Santa Cruz says that if he cannot get the fight with Gervonta Davis, the next option that he has is a fight with Gary Russell Jr. Pardon me, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Please pardon my mistake, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. So, why? Obvious, man. Let me give you a little background first. Gervonta Davis is the 135-pound WBA regular champion, okay? He has a belt at 135 pounds, a secondary belt. But what he is the biggest money dude in boxing below the welterweight division. Okay, we've got a bunch of divisions in boxing. We've got the 105, 108, 112, 115, 118, 122, 126, 130, 135, and 140. Those are 10 divisions. And of those 10 divisions, and there's only 7 more above it, Gervonta Davis is the #1 cash money dude in that smaller portion of boxing. He has sold out stadiums in Los Angeles, in Maryland, in Atlanta, and New York City. He is promoted by Floyd Mayweather Jr. You even have his name floating around in rap songs by guys like DaBaby. I'm a heavy hitter like Gervonta Davis. I was listening to my son with that. He's like, I'm a heavy hitter like Gervonta Davis. Dang, Gervonta Davis is getting mentions on rap songs. When that starts happening, dude, you know that you are in the core. And that's one of the more popular entertainers. You know that you're pretty much at the core of the culture. So that's where Gervonta Davis is. He's an extremely, extremely exciting fighter because he gives you what you he gives you what you're looking for in fights. He's giving you knockouts, hand speed, skills, the whole nine, right? Now, he is the guy that is most wanted at 135 pounds by Vasily Lomachenko, by Gervonta Davis, by Teofimo Lopez. In the case of Gervonta Davis in that moolah, the belts don't even matter. Now, early in the career of Floyd Mayweather Jr. as a promoter, people are like, man, he's messing up. He's not protecting his fighters. He's putting his fighters in bad positions. His fighters can't win. But he got his hands on Gervonta Davis, though. He and Leonard Ellerbe have done an exceptional job of getting that guy up to the top of the sports, being one of the top big money guys in the sports. Even guys like Eddie Hearn out of the UK, when he asked, if you could sign anybody that's not currently with you, who would they be? I think he said, Tyson Fury #1, maybe Canelo #2 or something. And then he said Gervonta Davis. Whoever he said at #2, I can't remember. But the third one he mentioned was Gervonta Tank Davis. So if you got the big UK promoter wishing they had this kid out of Baltimore, that tells you what he's about. So Leo Santa Cruz, who is currently, according to I think he's listed on BoxRec and Boxing Scene. I have to go look at the actual WBA championship, which you can get on Live Live. Actually see their rankings. But the last couple ones that I saw just going through stuff still have Leo Santa Cruz as the WBA champion at 126 pounds, and the WBA champion. I hope I said WBA champion at 126 and WBA champion at 130 pounds. He is a guy that he's a good fighter, but a problem with him is that he has always ducked the smoke from the fighters that were in his weight class, specifically Guillermo Rigondeaux and Gary Russell Jr. But he's willing to fight Gervonta Davis because of the money. Now, but Leo Santa Cruz is a little deluded in this scenario because what he said was that he's fighting Gervonta Davis at 130 pounds, not 135 pounds. And, that's what it is. as if he is in any position at all to dictate to Gervonta Davis what weight he's going to fight at. If Gervonta Davis don't want to fight at 135, the only power that Leo Santa Cruz has is to go find somebody else to fight. It ain't going to be a situation where he's dictating to Gervonta Davis what Gervonta Davis is going to do, because Gervonta Davis can go find somebody else to fight. That'll fight him at 135 pounds, make just as much money, and that'll be what it is. Now, ultimately, I think that Leo Santa Cruz is going to go to 135 to fight Gervonta Davis. And then he is going to get summarily massacred, okay? I don't know what Floyd Mayweather Jr. has against Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares. I don't know if it is payback for both of them ducking Guillermo Rigondeaux, but for some reason, they tried to put both them dudes in there with Gervonta Davis, and it's like you can see what was gonna go down. I got one big dog, like in my house, you guys will hear every once in a while dogs barking. I got two dogs in this house. One I love, one is that my brother-in-law passed away. So and rest in peace, my man, rest in peace. When my brother-in-law passed away, the dog that he was keeping for my niece, he needed a new home. So we bring the dog into the house, right? So we got a little dog, right? A little dog, and we got a big dog. But the little dog is the one that does all the barking, is the one, not all the barking, but he's the more aggressive one. He's older. The big dog is a puppy, but the little one is really aggressive and was the alpha male where he was. So he tries to come in here and bump up with the big dog, tries to, intimidate the big dog. So the big dog always looks at me, name is Zeus, just looks at me like the big dog's just ashamed that it's just thinking, I can see it in his eyes, like if I bite this little mug, he's gonna get mad at me. So let me sit back down, because in my house, I'm the alpha. But that's what I think of. But if one time my little dog tried to bite my big dog, and literally his mouth didn't get big enough to even really get to his shoulder, and he had to jump up on all fours to get high enough to get to his shoulders. And then what my big dog did, he just took his nose and was like, boop, and just bumped him off with his nose. But if that's the type of fight that would take place between Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz, except for Gervonta Davis is not about to look at Floyd Mayweather Jr. and say, should I cut this dude a break, or or will you allow me to rip his belly out? You know what I mean? That's not the particular scenario. Gervonta Davis is going to go for broke on him. It's going to be done in 2-3 rounds tops. 2-3 rounds tops. I would be shocked if it went 5 rounds. And Leo Santa Cruz is, if it in the longer goes, the worse for Leo Santa Cruz. If for some reason he's able to survive past 8 rounds, dude, it ain't going to be good for his brain cells and his recuperation for the rest of his life. That's not even, in my opinion, that's not even a fair fight. With same thing I said about Gervonta Davis and Abner Mares. Like when Abner Mares got that eye injury, that he's like, oh, I'm out of the Gervonta Davis fight, I got an eye injury. The fight was such a mismatch. It was such an obvious mismatch that I was like, dang, that might be the first fighter ever where a torn retina saved his career. So Leo Santa Cruz, if he gets into that fight, it's done. If I was Leo Santa Cruz, I would say, dude, Leo, it's time. It really is time to do what is right. Take your second option. Fight Gary Russell Jr. Because even if you lose to Gary Russell Jr., at least you have some advantages over Gary Russell Jr. At least you know that, it's not necessarily going to be something that is an absolute and complete destruction before the eyes of the world. At least you're just probably going to get outboxed, outclassed, but there's a chance that maybe on a scorecard, that if you do enough tricky stuff with your hands or throw enough flurries towards them at the end of the round, that you can get some rounds and something crazy could happen, right? And you can also, with Gary Russell Jr., because nobody wants to fight him, you might actually be able to get the guy to give you a rematch clause, similar, and use the leverage that you have to get the fight, because clearly Gary Russell wants to fight, so you can throw a rematch clause in there. You might be able to negotiate the ring down a foot, or negotiate for a smaller ring, but anything that you do with Gervonta Davis, dude, is going to be a no-go. It's my way or the highway with the cash cow. That's just how it goes. I personally hope man, fight for Leo Santa Cruz. Man, dude, fight Gary Russell Jr. Fight, it's a relatively competitive fight. I got an advantage for Gary Russell Jr. on it. You can get a rematch. If you're able to win, you're unified at a weight class that you should be at anyway. 130 pounds is too much for Leo Santa Cruz. But because if you don't fight Gary Russell Jr., what are you gonna do? Fight Miguel Berchelt? Miguel Berchelt will mop Gary Russell Jr. Not Gary Russell Jr., Leo Santa Cruz. So, man, come to your senses, Leo Santa Cruz. Fight Gary Russell Jr. Leave Tank alone. If you do, you know you're going to 135, and make sure you can get every penny that you possibly can get out of that fight. But even then, there's not a lot of negotiation room with you over there. So anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.